Next up, we have one of Gershwin's favorite Primarchs, and that is ROGAL DORN, the Vigilant, the Praetorian of Terra, the Unyielding One, and all in all, the Primarch of the Imperial Fists. So Dorn, again, he's like one of those Primarchs who I often overlook, because there's nothing really special about him. It's like, rumor has it he died fighting on a Chaos flagship, and the only thing that was recovered from him was his hand. So maybe he is dead, maybe he's not dead, maybe he had to retreat and cutting off his hand was the only option. However, I do like his model for Forge World. It shows him like in a very stoic stance, and it just looks pretty badass. The renditions that you see here for the artists, I feel like it's nothing special. Again, he's just a regular, in my opinion, he's just like bland. Just a regular run-of-the-mill old Primarch. So, with that being said, let's continue on. And speaking of generic-looking Primarchs, we have Robute Guilliman, aka Robot Girly Man. So Guilliman, he looks like a Roman, like, Emperor, Julius Caesar, Russell Crowe. He's just there. Although he is the poster boy to GW, since they tend to focus on Ultramarines a lot, so I'll give them that. And because of that, he has his Forge World sculpt, which it's okay. And he's the only Loyalist Primarch to have been released for the 40K timeline. Which when it came out, I really enjoyed the sculpt. I thought it was really dynamic. Just overall really liked the pose. He's got the flaming sword. The armor looks cool. But the more I look at it now, I feel like the proportions are a little off. It's still pretty cool sculpt nonetheless. So yeah, pretty bland, pretty okay. Let's move on. Now, if you thought the previous two Primarchs were pretty bland, there is no way you can think that of this next one. We are talking about none other than the Gorgon, the Cyclops, the psychically powerful Magnus the Red, the Primarch of the Thousand Suns Legion. So he is a really awesome character. His lore is super rich and dynamic. He's always been an interesting character that usually gets blamed for everything, but in my opinion, Magnus did nothing wrong. His art is always awesome. I always like the crazy flair that these artists have with him. As you can see in this image, by Nicholas G.R. Condino. Again, all the artists are going to be in the description below. I really enjoy the way that he's just focusing on his characteristics. Again, it's just like you could see like the lightning, the details and such, and it just looks amazing. And then when we flip it over to the other artist, you could see how more realistic it is. But again, you also have like the Gorgon part kind of more popping out here with his only single eye being open. And overall, it's just really great. I really enjoy the shift in dynamics when he became a demon prince, as you can see in the 40K model here. I'm not saying the Forge World one is bad at all. I love it. I really like the whole psychic power being shown in the Forge World one, but he just looks so much more menacing in his Demon Prince form, which I really hope they keep it going with those Demon Princes, because the direction they have for it is just amazing. So again, in my opinion, out of the 40K sculpts, Magnus is definitely the best sculpt so far. If you think otherwise, let me know in the comments. But for now, let's continue on. Next up, you have my favorite Primarch, Sanguinius, aka the Great Angel, and the Primarch to the Blood Angels Legion. Unfortunately for him, he has passed. He was killed by his best friend, which is none other than Horus, the War Master. And Sanguinius is so awesome, so instrumental in the lore, that all in all, like, I can't wait to see what Forge World does with him. It is known that he was probably one of the most beautifulest Primarchs. Maybe it was Fulgrim, maybe it was him, but I just can't wait to see his angelic form come out into the Forge World Horus Heresy series. Honestly, I know he's coming out next, so I can't wait to see him. Hopefully they reveal him soon. But just to give you a little bit of a hint of how awesome he was, let me tell you what Horus has said about him. Sanguinius. It should have been him. He has the vision and strength to carry us to victory, and also the wisdom to rule once victory is won. For all his aloof coolness, he alone has the Emperor's soul within his blood. Each of us Primarchs carries part of our father within us, whether it's his hunger for battle, his psychic talent, or his determination to succeed. Sanguinius holds it all. It should have been his. Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the 1st Legion, the Space Marines known as the Dark Angels. So Lionel Johnson, he's got a pretty interesting past with like Caliban and Knights and fighting with Logar, not Lorgar, Logar. And all in all, he's a pretty cool looking guy. Again, I feel like he falls on like the blander side of the whole Space Marine Primarch, you know, what they look like. But all in all, he's pretty cool. I mean, he's got Cypher carrying around his blade. Maybe it'll be more prevalent into the lore, and maybe, because again there's rumors flying all over the place that maybe he'll be the next loyalist Primarch to come out and join Guilliman, but we'll just have to wait and see. All in all, just let me know what you guys think about the portraits you see here for him. Do you think these best describe what your mental image of the lion was? If not, let me know what other images are. So let's continue on. The Lord of Iron, the Breaker, the Hammer of Olympia, Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors. Now, Perturabo is one of the few Primarchs who actually dons Terminator armor, and I think that's really badass. In the lore, he's not really my favorite Primarch, but model-wise, he's always looked very intimidating. He created his own Terminator armor himself, and as you can see, it's a conglomeration of just weapons on weapons on weapons. It really gives me the vibe of like a more beefed up War Machine from like the Iron Man series from Marvel, and he's just pretty cool looking. Although his face, he's an ugly dude. But like the Terminator armor kind of hides his ugliness in badassery. Again, let me know what you think about his armor, and just to let you guys know, he single-handedly took down a Titan, if I remember correctly. So, again, Perturabo, aka Badass. The Pale King, the Death Lord, the Prince of Decay, aka Mortarion. So Mortarion is the Primarch of the Death Guard Space Marine Legions, and he also happens to currently be a Demon Prince of Nurgle. So because of that, he's actually come out into the 40K timeline, and he's got a pretty cool looking sculpt. I actually had the pleasure of fighting Mortarion on the battlefield with my Blood Angels, and let's just say this Primarch is a beast in combat. It took a combined might of a Sanguinary Guard, a Captain, and a 5-man Terminator squad to take him out, but he managed to do some big damage against me. When it comes to his portrait, he's always one that's pretty cool. He's got that shroud over his face, he's got that breathing mechanism, he looks really badass, and overall, just very demonic looking, very sickly looking, and it's further incorporated into his artwork because many of it shows him wielding his legendary scythe. So again, really awesome character, really awesome drawings. Now let's continue on. The next Primarch is none other than Lorgar. Lorgar Aurelian, aka the Urizen, is a pretty, like, when I first heard about him, like, he didn't interest me at all. His lore seemed pretty weak, but the more I actually paid attention to it, this guy is badass. We've got like a 4-part lore onto Lorgar, and I greatly recommend you check out those 40 fact videos. And he's just overall misunderstood, I think it's best put. He managed to take out a Demon Prince, he took out an avatar of Cain, he actually stood up to Horus, And all in all, he's been meditating currently in the 40K timeline, just ready to come out and just F things up. So much so that I really like his design. His design for the Horus Heresy, his armor just looks really badass, and I was really close to using him as my stand-in for my own personal fan Legion Primarch, but I had to hold back because even though his armor is really cool, I really liked another Primarch's design, which I'll get to later. But yeah, Lorgar is really badass. As you can see in the images, you can see how crazy he is, or how devout he is, based on what your perception of him is, as he's got all these markings on his face. And yeah, it's just pretty cool. Go watch the 40 facts on him.